Since I was a teenager, I always wanted to be a classroom teacher. I remember when I was in my early teens, I went to the school principal. I was church schooled in a very small kind of old schoolhouse setting. That's a whole other story that we don't have time for today. But I remember going to the principal and saying, I want to be a teacher when I grow up and I want to get on that trajectory. And I was told, there's no money in teaching. You need to go into computers. So, this would have been in the 90s. And yeah, there was money in computers, but I'm not wired that way. I went into university, got my English lit degree, and then went off to Korea to teach English as a second language in a smaller town called Chonan, and absolutely loved the classroom experience. Then I signed up to go to Teachers College in Brisbane, Australia, and then a whole other story that we don't have time to get into. Decided to go to seminary and get a master's of divinity instead, et cetera, et cetera. But all through my master's, I was teaching English as a second language to multiple age groups, people in their 20s, teenagers, tutoring little kids. And so teaching and teachers have always had such a close place in my heart, a special place in my heart. And then, of course, as I send off a grade 5 and a grade 7 to school yesterday and today for their first day, I'm just so grateful for teachers. Now, we are at a crisis point in terms of our K-12 public school system here in New Brunswick, and that is not an exaggeration. We are looking at, and this is similar to the housing crisis, the nursing crisis. We are doing it again here, where we are ringing the bell on seeing the teacher shortage. It is coming. It is looming. 1,200 public school teachers are set to retire within the next 5 years. Okay, so we need to start tackling this right now. And the New Brunswick Teachers Association is ringing the bell on this. And for the record, Greens as well are saying we need to take action on this because our education system and our children is one of our most precious responsibilities. And just from a very practical standpoint, having a good education system is a good investment in our workforce and in our province. Now, a little last year, actually early this year, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to talk about last year coming up. But this year, the New Brunswick Teachers Association sent out a survey to all the political parties. And it is just called the Political Survey, where they sent every party, Conservatives, Liberals, Greens, NDP, People's Alliance, every party got a series of 8 questions on their stance on the public education system, what they believe the needs are, how they believe they can respond to the challenges and the crises. And I was reading through this, of course, to get the Green stance. I'm always proud of just about everything the Green says and agree with every stance personally. And I hit the question that basically, let me see. I hit the wrong thing. I was like, that's not the slide I expected. Here we go. I hit the question here that said, what is the party's commitment to actioning recommendations on page 21 from the Building a Better Education System long-term plan? Okay, so that made me realize I need to go back, the Building a Better Education System long-term plan. I need to go back and familiarize myself with this plan, this long-term plan that I have heard about in terms of saving us from this crisis, getting our education system where it needs to be. But page 21 is very specific, and that is why I want to share with you what that is. So, what are they referring to with the Building a Better Education System action plan? Well, last year, the Department of Education and Early Childhood, the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development got together, the EECE, started working together, collaborating on a plan for a long-term action plan to pull our education system up and move it forward, considering that we are growing, there are more children coming in, but we don't have enough teachers. As I said, we're looking at that 1,200 teachers retiring in the next 5 years, which means we need to bring a lot more teachers in. And as of last month, the Teachers Association was saying that they are still 500 teachers short of the teachers they needed for yesterday, for the start of this school year. It's challenges like that and many others that cause them to get together with many, many stakeholders, parents, districts, superintendents, anybody involved tangentially working in or being served by our public education school system. And they came up with the Building a Better Education System plan. And so out of that came 11 recommendations. And of course, I'm not going to finish this today because we're at 5 minutes already. But up on the screen here, too small for you to read, is the list of 11 recommendations that came out of that report that the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development said that they would tackle together and start answering systematically. And one of those, and I've circled on the screen, is page 21. So I found it. Improve retention. One of the recommendations: improve retention and recruitment of qualified teachers and specialized health service professionals in education. This is one of the crucial long-term action items, one of the recommendations that needs to be undertaken now to help our public school system become what it needs to be. I'll say it again: improve retention and recruitment of qualified teachers and specialized health service professionals in education. What is the Greens' response to that question? I'll put it back on the screen because remember, that is what they're asking on page 21. New Brunswick Teachers Association asked every political party, page 21 of that plan, what is your commitment to actioning recommendations? And this is one of the things where the creators of this report and critics of it said that we have not seen actionable items for these recommendations coming out of this government quite yet. And so obviously the folks who put this report together, especially the New Brunswick Teachers Association, are very interested in what political parties are going to do. And here's the response of the Greens. The Green Party is committed to implementing the recommendations from page 21 of the Building a Better Education System plan, focusing on, and here's the how. The how is very important, not just the what. Recruiting and retaining qualified teachers and specialized health professionals. Remember, the specialized health professionals are all the people who support teachers and support students in that classroom environment and support schools. We will collaborate with unions to create a comprehensive recruitment and retention strategy covering various staff, including teachers, custodians, psychologists, and speech-language pathologists. Our approach includes offering competitive salaries, fostering a supportive work environment, reducing administrative burdens, and ensuring manageable class sizes. We will also partner with universities to align education programs with system needs and provide practical training opportunities. I'm going to put the link in the description of this video so you can read the whole report, all the questions, and the responses of the political parties. But I just want to emphasize how correct I think the Green Party is, how important it is to take the tack of supporting teachers and paying them enough, giving them the compensation they need. And I'll end with this today. In order to fill all the gaps in staffing for this school year, the Department of Education had to issue local permits to certified supply teachers just to fill in the gaps that we did not have the full-time teachers to provide. And here's I would say a stat that is rather chilling. So they issued over 1,100 of these permits to supply teachers to take over classrooms almost on a temporary basis. This sounds a lot like travel nurses. Yes, this seems to be what we do in this province. Instead of properly compensating, we realize we're in a hole, then we just grab and try to fill whoever we can without properly compensating full-time people. But here's the real issue, is that out of those 1,100, less than 200 were under the age of 50. So that means we are not seeing younger people getting into supply teaching. We are not seeing younger people taking on uh, the gaps in getting the training they need to become teachers. And I think back of how when I was a teenager, I wanted to be a teacher. And in order for people to want to be a teacher and then look into it and not come to the conclusion that it is a brutal, under-resourced, undersupplied, unappreciated job, we need to do the kind of things that the Greens responded in this report to give fair compensation, give supports, give trainings, ease the administrative burdens, and all that, because teachers want to teach. They are wonderful. They are giving. They are wired that way. I still am. And when I look at the people who are with my kids every day in schools, we need to help them. And if you think, oh, that's just pie in the sky, that is just kind of idealizing, we don't actually have the money for that. I'm going to start tomorrow with what the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce said about the budget, and they specifically pointed out of a $13.3 billion budget and all the pots of money, they specifically mention education as crucial for the future and just good business. So I want to start there tomorrow.